how we decide to approach that and do that in a very effective and quick way. Well, in related news, there was a mild drama in the Nigerian Senate when the Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin criticized U.S. President Donald Trump, insisting that Nigeria is a sovereign state and that he, Jibrin, is not afraid of Trump. Well, this followed a perceived reluctance of the Senate President to speak on Trump's threat of military intervention in Nigeria. Well, let's take a look.
Don't be scared. I can see.
I said
I'm not scared of Trump. I will say my mind.
President or a country be scared?
I'm a Nigerian. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. I'm a parliamentarian. I'm a deputy senate president. I can speak on behalf of Nigeria. I'm not scared of Trump.
But do not allow others to speak for you.
Don't be scared of Trump.
Get
you
something.
can say your mind about Trump.
Get something.
We are a sovereign nation.
But get something. Don't allow people to ascribe what you did not say to you.
Did it wrong, but you didn't say it. That's correct. You didn't say it.
Yes.
But when
what
you
I'm
decide
saying
to say,
is that
you shouldn't be scared of saying anything.
No, if you want me to say it now, I will try to say.
We are not scared of Trump.
I will say, but then listen.
We are a sovereign nation. We are not scared of Trump.
Clark, please delete what the Deputy Senate President has said. He spoke out of tune. You are not hearing what I'm saying. I'm saying this time, the Senate President of Nigeria did not answer President Trump. And then that the quotation is meant to cause diplomatic row. It is the presidency that will answer President Trump.
Clark, delete what you wrote about those statements. Well, let's find out what people had to say on social media. Most people took it in a very laughable way. But let's take a look at Sir Says, I believe is pronounced, who says intense exchange in the Senate highlights tension between defending national sovereignty and managing diplomatic narratives. Akpabio's caution contrasts sharply with Barau's bold stance, a classic clash of protocol versus principle. Well, that's quite an intelligent take. Cortigo also came and said, now everyone is talking. Now we are acting like people are dying, not the silence we've been having all this while. Just a tweet from Trump did all this. Go and fix the insecurity. It is not to be shouting sovereign country up and down. Then lastly, on a more humorous note, Big Fave said, Akpabio be like, no be me when I go put for problem. He doesn't want to join us name in it. Dr. Abati, your take on these issues.
No, this is my view. I think both senators are right. Yesterday, Ayo here was talking about the need for a coordinated response from government so that we don't have people either talking across purposes or a cacophony, of voices on the particular matter. And I think that is the basic principle. Now, I think it's unfortunate that up to this point, we don't see that, coordinated response. Even if the Nigerian government, through the Minister of Information, through the presidency itself, through also Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister Yusuf Tuga, have said, look, Nigeria is not a country of religious persecution. What we need is this coordinated response. The second point is that we've also had the advice from people saying there is need for caution so that it doesn't look like we are, provoking further Mr. Trump or that we are, being confrontational. This same Trump that has threatened that he will put boots on the ground. So, there are some people who may want to be very cautious. However, the lawmakers, whether in the Senate or the House of Representatives, they are representatives of the people. And so, in that regard, Senator Jibrin Barau is also right to say, well, I'm representing the people of a certain constituency. And we do not think that Donald Trump should dictate our sovereignty. And I think he has the right, he's entitled, because the people in the National Assembly, they are representing Nigerians, and they have the right to speak up for their constituents and to express a particular view. So to that extent, he's right. The Senate chairman is saying he was quoted in some papers as having said something. And he said, no, he has not said anything. You can now moralize and say, well, the Senate president, who is chairman of the National Assembly, you think he should have an opinion. But if he says, no, we should be cautious, let the presidency lead the debate. Maybe he's just waiting for the presidency to take certain steps. He may be privy to certain information, and he does not want to use his chair as chairman of the National Assembly to make statements. So to that extent, I would say both men, are right from wherever they are coming from. But the Nigerian people will expect that the representatives of the people, in fact, the National Assembly, as a body, can also take a position and advise the presidency on this matter. But, if caution is the word, and you can see that even the Nigerian government is not confronting Trump directly. Yeah. They are just saying we are willing to cooperate. Whoever wants to work with us, will work with them. The advice of the elder, Professor Akinyemi, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself should not confront Trump. So, they have all the intelligence. They are, in the seat. So they will formulate the best kind of response. And probably they are using back channels, something they may not come in public to say to people. So it's about information that is available from where you are, within the spectrum.
Absolutely. It is a very delicate issue, and it's important that it's not made jest of and it's not trivialized, because these are people's lives
very
at
delicate,
stake.
Because we don't want trouble in Nigeria. And then, Zimbabwe people will say, well, Vimba, you are not part of their problem. Come back to Zimbabwe. We want you here.
Exactly. No, don't worry. We're here together. We're in it together.
No, she has critical assets that are Nigerian.
I will not run.
Yes.
Okay. Nigeria recognizes dual nationality. She can take her children to our country and say, let the Nigerians solve their problem.
It will not come to that. It will not come to that. I have faith that it won't come to that.
Important.
Yes, caution is very important. And I'd love for you to tie everything together, because unfortunately the House of Representatives didn't actually get to discuss this issue yesterday. This is because they were thrown into a rowdy session on Tuesday after lawmakers rejected a motion on land allocations at the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex. Now, an All Progressives Congress lawmaker representing Shomolu Federal Constituency of Lagos had moved a motion on the alleged illegal allocation of federal government lands within the complex. The bickering then began as reps couldn't agree on which committee between Commerce and Public Assets should handle the matter. This is what it looked like.
Of the motion, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of the stand, say aye.
Order, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of the second leg of the motion, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. Honorable Akala, move your motion. You are protected.
Sit down.
Honorable Akala, move your motion.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Honorable members. Honorable members, I think there is something bothering you want to discuss. So I will ask that the chief whip move that will enter into executive section.
Well, after that rancor, all other motions were rejected in protest. So the House didn't even get to discuss issues pertaining to threats from the US, as well as another motion to discuss the setup of a military base due to insecurity in Kwara State. Well, meanwhile, outside the National Assembly, it wasn't just rancor inside, outside as well, protesters under the aegis of the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria blocked its main entrance gate over alleged non-payment for completed projects that have long been commissioned by the government. The protesters, who arrived at the assembly complex in large numbers before being stopped at the gate by security personnel, said the federal government had failed repeatedly to keep its commitment to pay them for contracts executed, completed, and handed over. The national president of the association, Jackson Ifeanyi, disclosed that most of the projects owed were actually constituency projects that had already been commissioned, and he added that lawmakers were taking the glory while contractors bore the pain.
He said there's a lot of traffic.
Well, the reps responded to this protest by initially moving to suspend plenary for 1 week. However, they've since rescinded that decision and appealed to Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, for the implementation of the 2025 budget. Goodness, a lot of conflict.
But first of all, my first response to that video is that this is quite disgraceful. It's shameful, and it's unfortunate that people who have worked have to resort to coming out with placards and protests for their monies to be paid. A number of things that we need to, that we need to talk about. Number one is when contracts are awarded, the process through which contracts are awarded, and that the amount of money promised or allocated to a particular project is actually worth the cost of the project, because there are always debates around that as to how much money was actually, ring-fenced for a particular project. That's one. The second part is the funding of our budgets, the budget performance. And, we put this side by side by the administration's announcements of revenue performance, more revenue generated. FIRS has come up with its numbers. The presidency is asking for loans upon loans. Another matter that was discussed yesterday was Senator Akpabio reading out a letter of the president's intention to borrow 1.1 trillion naira to pay local contractors. That also happened yesterday in the Senate. And so we talk about all these things and we wonder, so where is the money? Why do we have people who have worked and have done projects or commissioned projects now coming out to protest that they haven't been paid? And so, yes, they can lay the fault at the feet of the Ministry of Finance, saying that pay what's provided for in the budget. But even more so would be, number one, was money allocated to this project? Because we have said that, we've been able to meet some of our project commitments because of the revenue that was generated. And then number two, if the money was not released, the monies that have been announced again and again, where are they going to? And that's why we consistently say that it's not just about announcing about revenue generation, increased revenue generation, but where the revenue goes to, infrastructure, and what it actually does. If it hasn't happened that way, then where has all that money gone to? Transparency, accountability is what we continuously ask for, as a people. And I don't think that this administration has done well by that. So a good response to that would be the amount of money that has been celebrated, whether from the EFCC recovering stolen loot or from FIRS coming to say that they've been able to surpass previous years and previous administrations. Where has that money gone to? And why do these, contractors have to come out to protest? Beyond that, when it comes to land matters and issues around land, we now see what the priority is for us as a nation. We have a hot topic that concerns security. We all are talking about how, let nothing happen to us. We're even discussing your plans as to whether or not you're staying back. And the senators are concerned about allocation. It's an important matter. Let's not, it's an important matter. But you talked about what's happening in Kwara State. Kwara State has been crying out as to the killings happening in the state. We have talked about this on the table a number of times. These are critical matters of states that ought to be debated in the Senate, or at least spoken about. But we're talking about land. They were arguing, and important matters were not spoken about. Instead, we see jesting, jokes. It's when a lot of times about, keep quiet, don't keep quiet, off your mic, don't off your mic. That is not what these representatives were elected for. That's not the platform that the people gave them for, to represent their interests. And I think as a matter of urgency, we must take security matters very seriously as a nation. Things are important when it comes to land allocation in a state, in an area, in a senatorial district. But even more important, as a matter of interest for the whole of Nigeria, is this issue around ending terrorism once and for all. And that is why, as I end, I'm excited about Senator Ted Cruz's list. But more important is the political will to deal with the outcome of that list. We have said it again and again. It's not a matter of lack of information or intelligence. They know who these people are. They know where they are hiding. It is, would they have the courage to fish them out, and actually there be consequences meted out to these criminals? That's the big question.
Okay, one, my problem with Senator Ted Cruz is that, he started all of this, call for sanction against Nigeria and all of that. But statistics, he says 50,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria. What is the source of that figure? He said 20,000 churches have been burnt down. What is the source of that figure? Trump himself referred to 3,000, right? 100 Christians having been killed. Another group, a political party, said, 15,000 persons have been killed. So you just get all kinds of figures, and each person throws up the figures, just to satisfy the objective of their, statement or intervention. I think that the biggest problem that we have in Nigeria, whether it's with regard to population or with healthcare or to education, is that we have conflicting figures. We just had a gentleman who wants to be governor of Anambra State. He doesn't even have basic statistics. How can he plan if he has no idea of basic data in that state? Number two is the indigenous contractors who went to the House of Reps to protest. Now, indigenous contractors have always been protesting. I think they said at one point that they are not being given contracts. I think on road construction and all that, they will say, they should give us contracts. But it is also the case that many of these indigenous contractors sometimes fail. They will collect mobilization, they will not deliver. Isn't that the issue with the stadium at Ugborodo? The NFF is saying, we paid the contractor did not go to site. And there will probably be many cases like that. The second thing is that, these contractors now say, okay, pay us constituency projects. We've always made the point about constituency projects, that there's something dubious about these constituency projects. Let them identify those constituency projects. And we want to know the lawmakers that are involved in this constituency project. You cannot go and distribute motorcycle and you call it a constituency project. Or as in some people's cases, they will buy is it transformer or electric poles? They will say they are doing constituency project. Number three, I thought earlier on, one of the things we said is that the 1.5 trillion that the presidency is now asking for to address deficit. I thought they said it is to address domestic debt. In fact, if you check, our domestic debt may even be higher than some other debts that we have brought up. So we need a lot of transparency. We need details, because indigenous contractors are also part of the problem.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.